I insisted on everything. I insisted that we weren't lost. I insisted that we keep going. I insisted that we walk south. Everything had to be my way. And this is where we've ended up. And it's all because of me that we're here now. Hungry and cold and hunted.
Makes you want to cry. Please welcome Heather Donahue. Woo. Oh, you're so brilliant in this movie. You look a lot different sitting here today.
Thank you.
You look beautiful. But I can just imagine
how clean up nice, I've been told.
You sure do.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for one of the most creepy, chilling movies I have seen in a long time. It was so fun to go into a movie and actually really be scared and on the edge of my seat. So thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome. I just hope more and more people continue to go and see it and check it out and enjoy it.
Have no doubts. You must be in a big whirlwind right now.
Yeah.
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 You ever expect it to be this big? Obviously you didn't.
No, I was kind of expecting maybe to have a copy of it on video.
Right.
Me and a bunch of friends would sit around and watch it.
Right.
You know, like, oh, look what I did. Wacky, huh? You know, and now it's, you know, because that's what the normal Backstage magazine routine is. You submit to these different projects, you do them, you have a great time, you learn a lot, you improve as an actor.
Right.
And then you have a video copy to share with your friends and family at holiday time.
Right.
And rarely do these things end up at your local Cineplex.
Plus, you made this a couple years ago.
Yeah,
right?
We made it in October of '97. Okay. So imagine my surprise as I'm sitting here still going around making up wacky little postcards with my head on a platter, you know, saying that I'm the special of the day,
right.
you know, different things like that.
That actors have to do.
Exactly, that actors do, that people never hear about.
Right.
You know, and I'm sending out these wacky things with Blair Witch Project listed on them, and nothing registers until Sundance. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, who represents the Blair Witch Project girl? You know, like, we want to see that Blair Witch girl, you know.
And did you have an agent
yeah,
at the time?
I did.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and it just keeps changing, and I have a manager and an agent and a lawyer and a staff.
The list goes on and on, and it's going to continue,
We're all going to
right?
have little jerseys and a softball team next thing you know. It's bizarre.
How did you get involved in the project in the first place?
Like I said, there was an ad in Backstage, which is basically this paper that comes out every Thursday.
Okay.
Which for the unrepresented actor is a big day, you know, because then you take that home, you read through all the ads, you sort through the things that say nudity required, meals and copy provided only, no pay. You know, you take those things out,
those myself,
and you
right.
highlight the things that actually sound potentially interesting, and you send off those headshots every Thursday night, Friday morning, and one day, long, long ago, an ad caught my eye that said improvised feature film. At that point, it was called the Black Hills Project.
Okay.
But the main thing was that it was an improvised feature film. That, to me, that stopped me dead in my tracks, because that is
doing improv.
Wow, that's a dream. That's
Okay.
creative freedom that you can only think about in your imagination that never actually happens. And then there was that whole part about wooded location and all that, but, you know, I
Right.
kind of put
And
that
all
out of my mind for the moment and concentrated on the improvised feature part. And went in with hundreds of other people, because obviously a lot of people thought this was a good idea, and went back time and time again. The first one, though, I went in and I sat down, and it was Dan Myrick, who's one of the directors on the project, and he said, no introduction, mind you. You walk in, you sit down. He says, well, you've served 7 years of a 9-year sentence. Why should we let you out on parole?
And you had to take off with
Right.
that.
So then I made up this whole baby killer character, and I said, you shouldn't let me out. People throw pacifiers on my lunch tray. I'm angry, you know. So, and then he's like, come back tomorrow. And I was like, yay.
Perfect, Heather.
You know?
Well, I read an ad, or actually, this was the ad that was on the wall.
Oh,
the warning
the
ad,
scare note
when you
to
went
try to get
the
people to
audition.
leave it. Yeah.
Now, I would run as fast as I could if I said, you are about to read for the most demanding and unpleasant project of your career. If you are cast, we're going to drag you into the woods for 7 days of hell. 168 hours of real-time improvisational torment. We're not kidding. So if you're not serious about your craft, then you're wasting your time and ours. You read this and said,
And I said,
going for it.
These are people I want to work with.
Oh my gosh. Well, good for you. I mean, you are a brave girl.
I know a lot of other people who obviously read that ad and noticed it as well. Like, a really good friend of mine, Jamie, she's like, I looked at that and I said, absolutely not in a million years. Are they kidding?
Right.
You know, so it's a certain type of person, I guess, who finds that interesting.
Very brave.
Compelling.
No, I commend you. Now, for those who don't know about the movie, describe it a little bit.
Okay. It's called the Blair Witch Project.
Right.
And what they did is they brought the three of us actors, Michael Williams, Joshua Leonard, and myself, to Maryland. We had a few days that were sort of a crash course in film school. I was shown documentaries that were sort of on creepy topics as well, so that I could sort of get a sense of what I wanted my character's documentary to look like.
Okay.
We also learned how to use the 16mm film camera. Mike learned how to run the DAT recorder, and after a couple of days of that, we were sent out to start making this documentary about the Blair Witch. And it was supposed to be, you know, 3 days of footage, but then things happened and we're never heard from again.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So this is how they were hyping up the movie.
Right, exactly.
So when did they decide to let you guys come out and promote the movie and say, cat's out of the bag, we are really alive?
Well, I think,
And it was all,
I guess we all went to the premiere.
okay.
So that was a peak time, and we were doing, we did a couple of little press things here and there, but we all knew that it was a pretty important part of the movie, that there is that very fine line between fiction and reality,
right.
and that we all wanted to preserve that because we all wanted to see the movie do well. And I think that's part of what makes it interesting even now to come out and have people say, oh my God, you're alive, you know?
Right.
That sort of adds a nice element to it, rather than people always knowing from the very beginning it's a hoax, it's, you know.
And I have to say, even knowing it going in, it still was so effective because you immediately, within minutes, forget.
Right, because we behave
you
like
guys are
people
actors.
that you know or have known. You know, it's
Right.
a bunch of kids hanging out, working on something they think is cool. you
Right.
know?
Well, the directors had a very unconventional way of doing the movie.
Oh,
Why don't you
absolutely.
tell us about that?
Right. Once we got out into the woods, they gave us a global positioning system, which is never seen on camera. And that's sort of what they use with the North Star system, those different car navigation
Okay.
systems. They would program these waypoints in there, and we would basically just follow the little arrows that would pop up on the screen of the global positioning system and just keep walking in that direction until we hit the waypoint. And we would know we were there because there would be a white milk crate with an orange bicycle flag sticking out of it. And then we would go up to the little milk crate, and inside would be these little film containers like you use for 35mm still,
Right.
the little plastic things that you throw away before you get them developed. There would be our initials on each one. We were only allowed to look at our instructions. We weren't allowed to show them to each other. And then for the next, say, 2, 3, 4 hours, we would just follow that direction until we hit the next waypoint where we would get further instructions.
And from there, you just had to take it and improv the lines.
Exactly.
Okay.
We improv'd all the dialogue. We did things beyond what we were given in those notes and that story structure that the directors had already mapped out. And that was part of the appeal.
Right.
That you can create these characters and you can take them anywhere you want to go because video is cheap. You know, you're not working with a strict 3-to-1 shooting
Right.
ratio like you are on a lot of independent films. You can do one scene, you don't like that one, well, why would we bother doing that one again? Let's make something new, you know, let's try something completely different.
What a blast.
Oh,
I
it
would
was
think for a few
great.
days anyway. How
It was
long were
great.
you actually in the woods?
It was 6 days in the woods, 8 days total shooting.
We'll be back with more Heather Donahue right after this.
Go! Hurry up!
I'm coming. My boots aren't laced.
Now, on normal movie sets, Heather, there are like trailers and craft,
services, right? They're not just supplied by Power Bar.
Right. So how did you manage?
It was, we knew what it was. And that's why they had that sign at the audition. If you were not into this, you did not have to go. This was not going to be a vanity picture by any
Right.
stretch of the imagination. This was not going to be,
But you had to pee in front of 4 strange guys.
oh, and the peeing was the worst part. Okay, you know, here's a shovel, that's your porta potty.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really nice.
Like I said, you look a lot different today.
Nice, exactly. And there's that's just easier for men, period.
Right. Sure.
Period. There's no way that women adjust to that as well.
And
We're just not as flexible in that department.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not at all.
No pun intended.
Quite literally.
And the directors were rationing your food, right? Or it just started to dwindle?
Yeah,
food
especially towards
rations,
I think the very last day we had like a banana and a power bar or something like that.
Didn't in the middle you just want to go, okay, screw it, I'm going home?
No.
You never did.
No, we did. I mean, we.
Sometimes I say that
We were
like 6
really-
hours into a shoot.
we were really excited about this project. I mean, because we knew that if we all committed to this experiment, that we were going to have something.
Yeah, yeah. But you
Something
didn't know
different,
it was going
you
to
know?
be this big.
Oh,
It
God,
wasn't
no.
like you had a big studio backing you up and you knew it was for Warner Brothers
No,
or
it was a
whatnot.
bunch of people doing a project that they felt passionately about.
Wow. So you didn't run out at the producers saying,
So this
I
is
can't
going to be
believe you.
huge.
Or no, or that I can't believe you did this to us. You,
Oh no, no.
Wow.
No,
What was
they-
the first thing you did when you got home?
When I got home, I was just really happy to see my boyfriend.
Right.
Really.
And he,
happy.
you, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah. But as soon as we got out of the woods, it was a shower at the hotel and then a wonderful hot meal at Denny's.
Yeah. Oh, at Denny's. Little promotion for Denny's.
Oh, yeah. Little
Well, speaking
New
of your
England clam
boyfriend-
chowder and a signature skillet.
Speaking of your boyfriend, did he mind that you were with a couple strange guys?
Oh,
sleeping in
he
tents?
hated it. He said, I can't believe you're doing this. What's wrong with you? You're insane. You know, and my mother, same thing. She wanted
Right.
to see their demo reel. She wanted to know where they all lived. She wanted to know, do these boys have girlfriends? Do they have boyfriends? Are they have some contact with society? You know, are they complete just where do they come from? What are they doing? Where do they want to go with this? Yeah, she's like, or else you need to let them know that I will come down to Maryland, pull you out of the woods, and kick all their ass. So, you know, and my mother does not mess around in that department.
You didn't have to take any precautions in that arena either? Or?
Oh, I bought myself a giant hunting knife,
Oh, my kind of girl.
and I wore it on a leather
So you did
sheath
have
on my
some
belt.
reservations about it a little bit.
Well, of course. I mean, I trusted my instincts that these were
Right.
decent people.
Right.
However, you know,
You never can
there are
tell
a lot
always.
in LA. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people look decent, then you turn around for a second. You know, so you always want to have that little obvious protection. You know, don't mess with me.
Right.
I will use this. You know? So.
Now, are you ever going to camp again?
Oh, I go camping all the time now, actually. I didn't
Just scare
camp
the crap
really-
out of the rest of us,
I
so
know,
we can't go.
which I'm really excited about because I can put my tent anywhere by the end of the summer. I love that. I'll call up. Yes, of course, we have plenty of space. Oh, yeah.
Now, does it ever bother you that this is bringing in tens of millions of dollars? And I don't know what you got paid, and I'm not asking you, but that you probably didn't make that much making this film.
It remains to be seen what I'll end up getting. And, you know, I wish I could continue to do things in this vein. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I want to keep doing things that I would do for free. You know, I don't want to do things just because they're paying me a bucket of money. Not that I have a problem collecting a bucket of money.
Right.
All I'm saying is has never really been my driving force. And I would hate for that to start now.
You just really love your craft, don't you?
I really do.
That's great.
I really do.
You know what? But I think I remember you.
Oh, no.
I think I remember you from the psychic
no.
hotline commercial.
Okay, I was moving to New York and I desperately needed the cash.
I don't blame you for all those kind of things.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember your line? We don't have the clip, but
There were a few lines that I shot. I don't know exactly what made it into the final commercials, and yes, there are more than one. Yeah, I believe one was me and a giant Great Dane looking into each other's eyes saying, 10 minutes free, we're totally stoked.
I totally remember.
And when the director said to me, okay, we want you to go, okay, 10 minutes free, we're totally stoked. I mean, I was temporarily stunned, slightly paralyzed, and I'm telling the dog this.
Right.
Me and the dog are both stoked about the 10 minutes free. The dog also is interested in receiving some psychic advice. That's my objective here? Am I clear? And he's like, yes, yeah, sure, whatever, yeah, whatever. 10 minutes free, we're totally stoked. All right, go. You know?
So you could say you've paid your dues, Heather.
Oh, in more ways than one. You know.
Absolutely. Are you working on any projects currently that we can look forward to seeing you in?
A couple things coming up. I have one very cool little indie film called Under the Hammock, where I would get to play a hooker with a heart of steel if anybody ever solidifies our financing, which would be fun.
I'm sure you
Everybody's
should-
got to get their good hooker role in there somewhere.
Right.
You know?
Well, enjoy it. Heather, thanks so much for talking with us. You're just a brilliant actress, so congratulations. Thanks to Heather, and stick around. We'll have more later right after this.